Morning, welcome to the video. So it's Monday 28th of October, and we are at this property here, which you may recognize. We came here in the springtime. Actually, I came in the autumn, did a little treatment. Springtime, loads of trees out since you last probably saw it, so creating a lot more light. So we're going to really get into that bit there. We're going to do this bit here. Fortunately, there's access at the back, so we've got spooners here, bringing the Fenland soil. Two bags, spooners. There we go, 2 bags for us. So there's the front as well. They've had a lot of work done. They've had a lot of stump grinding in the front, so the lawn has got a lot of track marks all over it. So that's going to need to be dressed out. 2 bags will probably be too much for what I need, so the rest will just be spread around the sort of the better stuff. But yeah, busy days, busy days, and it looks like it's been pretty dry this week, so that's pretty cool. Right, anyway, I'm going to help this guy out, and then I'll check back in. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so here we are. This is Fenland, and it's very dark. It's very rich. This is great for seed germination. And the key is to keep it dry, basically, because we're going to be wanting to spread it. So this is perfect for that. So if it was torrential rain later and we had to cancel the spreading, that can just sit there, and that's been good. When I did it last time, that's exactly what we did. We got it ordered like on a Friday, so it was here for the Monday. It rained all weekend, but it was perfectly dry, which was great, because spreading wet soil is not fun for anybody. So but once we've done it, it can rain as much as it likes, but only here, not the other clients, because I need it to be dry there. Okay, so these are the tools we've used so far. Obviously the aerator, backpack blower to get it in from the edge, because obviously the blower, the billy goat blower, you need to get the cores to about here before it can start blowing, because obviously you can't wheel it all over the plants and stuff like that. So all I've done is just blown everything over into this poorer area where the roots are, the stumps are, holes are, because there's been a lot of damage as well. Not that much, but obviously that tree's come out, lots of branches have come down, lots of branches off that tree as well. So yeah, there we are. Smashed this up, broken this all up, so we're going to rake this all over and then add the good stuff. So what we'll do is, I'll probably end up top dressing the whole of the front lawn, to be honest. They're 2 little small lawns. Then work on this area here, and then whatever's left just across the garden. There's isolated little areas, but that's basically how we'll do it. Because if I remember last time, the 2 bags, it got a bit thin towards the end. So we'll just concentrate on the bad stuff. I have forgotten my drag mat, but obviously I've got a classic yellow rake, so hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. So it just might mean, particularly where the remaining stuff, I'm just going to have to like spread it quite accurately to reduce the amount of pushing it around and stuff like that. But you know, I've got those skills. I've got them in the locker, so I'll get them out. Okay, the sections out the front are, can you see my dirty face? The sections out the front are done, and then all I've done is said a couple of, like, obviously by when you walk through the side of the house, that's obviously going to be a worn area. I think something's come out the side there, so a bit in there, and then there's probably 1.5 bags used, including that area there. So there's quite a bit, but there's a lot of big tree roots which I've had to sort of go around. It's now raining quite hard. Fortunately though, we do have the cover of trees, so The main bit of lawn has been seeded, obviously aerated and seeded. I didn't seed this bit yet because I was going to be putting quite thick areas of soil down, so I don't see there's any point to putting seed, like potentially 3 inches under a load of soil. So what I'll do is I'll rake this about, and then just really I'll seed it in a second once I've done this area down here, then rake it about and really seed it, then rake it about, just to sort of get the seed around all over the place. In other news, you will remember the sports field or the sports pitches that I sent a load of quotes for, and then someone on the committee decided that actually they didn't want it done, and they were going to have an expert from the FA come in and decide what needed to be done, and this, that and the other. Anyway, my objective, or what they asked me to do, was basically make some improvements on a budget. So really, only quote for the most important things and the things which would help. So I said, bit of work to the goal mouth, should have been done in the springtime, but now's better than never. Weeds, there was weeds everywhere, that needed to be dealt with, again, sooner rather than later. And then vertidraining, which in my opinion is a must every year. So anyway, they've had their expert come in, and he's basically said, before we do anything, you've got to get all these weeds sorted and you need to vertidrain. If only someone had told them 6 months ago. Oh, but they did, and it was me, and I quoted for it. So when I did have the guy phone up and say that he didn't want it done and he was worried about this, that and everything else, rather than sort of throwing all my toys out of the pram and all the rest of it and just saying no, I said, look, this is stuff you are going to need to get done, so you ever think about it, you decide whether you want it done or not, and then come back to me. I said, be careful though, because there are time zones in which this can be done, and you need to make the decisions before they get done. For the vertidraining, it's before the grass gets too wet or frozen, October, November time, that's when you want it done. The vertidraining's alright actually, I've got it booked in for, I always had it booked in for mid-November, so actually we're fine for that. In regards to the weed killing, it is possible still, because the temperatures are so that, there is still growth. It's obviously not going to be as quick a growth, so the selective weed killer is like a growth hormone, so the weed basically grows its whole life within a matter of weeks. But obviously if that growth is slow, it will be slow, but still effective. So the only problem is trying to find a day well, we're nearly in November now, aren't we? Trying to find a couple of days, because that's actually how long it'll probably take me, is a couple of days of dry, non-windy weather, and I think that is the bit which is slim to none. Maybe I could pick off a football pitch here or a football pitch there, and that might be something that I might be able to negotiate with them, that we just do the first team pitch and a couple others, and see how it goes while the temperature's mild. But certainly to get 2 consecutive days of decent weather, it's going to be tough. But what is quite nice is a expert has come in and decided that this one has said all the right things, so it's just justified everything that I said to them that they needed to do. He also said that there's potentially £100,000 worth of renovations that need to be made, and I'm fully aware of that, but they asked me, they said they haven't really got any money, they would need a budget, they would need a grant, but in the meantime, what could they do? And these little things were the things I suggested, yeah, it's been made apparent that I was correct in those decisions, so that's always nice to hear. Anyways, I'm going to carry on spreading the last of the soil. I'll just show you what I've got left. So there was 2 bags of soil, and this is where we're at. So, I don't know, there's a quarter of a bag maybe, not quite a third. You want to mix up your measurements. So that would basically be this bit here, and I think that's probably going to be it. Okay, so there we go, all done. That was some fleecing I picked up from a property last week, I think. So I've used that. There's a little bit more there, but it was That's got grass growing, which will grow through as well. That section there has no established grass, so I really wanted to protect that seed. So that was always the main bit. That's a bit extra, so I'm sort of just use it as I've got it out. So there we go, right. And then there's this little area here as well. Okay, so you'll recognise the next house we're going to. This is kind of an ad hoc one where I don't really want to do it, but it's if I can sort of fit it in, I'll do it, but I won't make any extra sort of special effort to get there as such. I will only I'll only go when they want me. I'm kind of hoping they get somebody else, if I'm completely honest, but hey, it's beginning to rain. Well, it's too wet, it's too any scarifying, I think. The soil hasn't quite spread as well as I'd want, but this rain wasn't forecast. So anyway, yeah, I'll show you that when we get there. Okay, so you might recognise this property. It was very long, very long, so I'm sort of slowly cutting it down. However, we haven't had a machinery breakdown for 2 weeks, so obviously it was about time we had one. So Time Master again. The cable seems tight, but every time I put the blade brake clutch cable, when I pull it, it seems tight, but something's stopping the blades going around. I suspect it's a belt has gone, but until I take the top off, I won't know. So I've got my trusty toolkit, and we shall see. Okay, the big reveal. Oh, and there it is. Crikey, that really has gone. This is a blimey, it's really gone. This is going to be a bit of a pain in the arse to fix. It is possible to do it here, but it's going to be a pain in the arse. And obviously now the clocks have gone back. It's nearly 4:30 now. So I reckon by the time I've got this done, realistically we're going to be looking at 5 o'clock. And I want to get the rest of this cut. It needs to be blown off, etc, etc. And then I've got 2 areas behind me, and I've just got lots of little small areas. So to be perfectly honest, I'm not going to get this done today before I lose the light. So there doesn't seem to be any sense in spending any time fixing this here with limited resources in the rain. I may as well call it, go home, get it sorted there. I've got the belt already, because if you remember, I pre-bought a load of belts for the next time it happened. Had it been 2 o'clock, I would have persevered and fixed it, but with it getting dark, yeah, I don't see there's any point to carrying on at this stage. I will have to then, I think the client's home actually, I will have to move things around. So yeah, that's where we are. It is what it is, unfortunately. Okay, morning. So it's Tuesday. So last night, to be honest, I was absolutely knackered, and I had loads and loads of invoicing and stuff I needed to sort out, because obviously it's the last week of the month, and I had to just sort of prioritise what I needed to do. And anyway, I ended up not fixing the mower, just because I just ran out of time. It was 10 o'clock before I'd even finished invoicing. Anyways, fortunately, and I've said it so many times, this is why you have a backup mower. This one's down, I can use this one. What I will do is, before I drive, so today was going to be a lawn care day. It still is going to be a lawn care day, but I'm going to have to get that other lawn finished off. So before I just grab this mower and go, I will put some fuel in and start it up, just check it's ticking over nicely before I drive all the way over to the lawn. And it's sod's law that every time a mower has broken down, it's always been at the furthest house away. And as it turned out yesterday, that was like the second furthest house away, which is, it's just more, as I was saying earlier yesterday, this one I'm doing, I don't really want it. It's just it's fallen into my lap, and the company that provided it, I wanted to sort of, I've been trying to build a relationship with them. It's just unfortunate that the first bit of work they give me is sort of ideally out of my service area. But yeah, there we go. Right, I will crack on with this, because today should have been quite a relaxed, nice day, but it's turned into a bloody busy one. So catch you in a bit. Okay, so we got the first lawn done as quickly as I could. Then we're on to, this is a fortnightly mowing job. In desperate need of lawn care. They had their extension last year, so I didn't do any lawn care last year. Maybe I've done some in the springtime, but certainly not summer, autumn or winter. And I didn't do anything in the spring either. I did do a little bit of seeding over in that corner, and basically all of that got reseeded, so that's coming quite nice. But yeah, it has been a bit neglected. It's now also a goal as well, so this area is getting a bit hammered. A lot of moss comes in because, as you can see, there's no direct sunlight currently now, because the sun's obviously come down, so the moss is coming really quick, especially with the wet weather. So, today we're just going to aerate, just trying to relieve a bit of that compaction from where the kids now are generally playing football on it every day, or riding their bikes or doing whatever. And then we're going to spray some iron for the moss, and then we're some selective for the weeds, because it's still mild enough that they're growing, so we can still do that as long as it's dry. It is dry currently, and then we'll just give it a kind of standard autumn time winter feed. So yeah, try and develop the roots and look after the health of the grass that we have got. So yeah, lots of things. We're going to just start the clear up now, and yeah, I'll report back in a bit. So all done, aerated, cleared away, fed, ironed, weeds treated, fertilised, etc, etc. Trying a new fertiliser actually from Rigby Taylor, so we'll see what happens with that. It's basically their new pre-seed, so I'm putting it down and see what happens. That's why I've added the iron to the weed killer, so I get the moss treatment, because the fertilizer doesn't have any iron in it. So and that's the thing about lawn care, it's all about experimenting and finding what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and coming up with just different ideas, not just sticking to the same thing, and equally not just doing what somebody else does, because lawn care, greenkeeping, it's an art. What works for one may not work for another, because you've got different soil conditions, you've got different climate, etc, etc. So don't be scared to just try and experiment, and that's what I'm doing today. So anyway, what I will do now is I'm going to stand on a tree root, and then what I can do is take a photo. We can compare this to on next Tuesday to see how it looks and see if it looks any different. Hopefully it will. Okay, so you might remember this one. This is quite a large lawn which is cut by the Husqvarna mower. And you remember last time I was here, I can't remember last time I was here actually. I think either I cut it, or no, it would have been in the summer, and there was the channels, wasn't there, where they'd had irrigation put in. So all I'm going to do here is run over it with the blower just to get this up, and then same over there as well, the real thick stuff. Then we're going to feed, and we're going to weed, or weed then feed, and yeah, that will be us. So oh yeah, and that was the thing, is when I came last time I strimmed around all the edging, did all the edging, if you remember correctly. Okay, so all done. As you can see, cleared this area away of the leaves. I can't remember where else the leaves were, so, and then you can see, just see the tyre marks in there and there. So in between there should be 1, 2, 3, perfect. And that's the right spacing for that fertilizer. The larger the prill size, the further it flies, So the biggest prill size normally is about 4 meters. So obviously that's 2 meters either side of the spreader. The finer stuff is normally about 3. So anyway, here we go, all fed, and it's actually beginning to rain a little bit. So yeah, perfect timing with that. Morning, it's Wednesday and it's 8:20 and the blowers have already started. So I'm going to add to the morning chorus. As you can see, it's very leafy everywhere we look. So it is Wednesday, and traditionally it's the Wednesday that I would go to Soltex, and I had wanted to go, but not necessarily was realistically going to go. It was just, if it was going to be torrential rain, then there was no point in just sitting in the van waiting for it to stop raining. I may as well have gone. And quite frankly, I would have liked to have gone, purely because with the success of Groundsfest, I'm very interested to see what Soltex's response is, because they've got 2 options here. One is to raise their game, or 2 is to just sort of slowly fade away into obscurity. So I was really keen to see what they are going to go and do about it. So hopefully someone goes and makes a YouTube video, and I'll be able to see for myself. But it's a shame, but never mind. It's only a trade show. All the companies that are releasing new stuff will have it all over their social media anyway. But you know, it is, for me, it's more about meeting up with friends that you speak to throughout the year, old friends that you haven't seen for a while. So yeah, never mind. But yeah, busy day today, fortnightly lawns, and I suspect a lot of leaves. A lot of leaves. Okay, so I've cleared all the leaves at this property. I mean, obviously the oak. Remember what this looked like, you couldn't see any gravel. So all the leaves are cleared. All the leaves are cleared through there. What I wanted to do was just top the lawn off. It's just a little bit too hairy for my liking, but also now, you know, we're nearly in November. We've got a great day to mow. So we don't know, this is a fortnightly, I don't know what the weather's going to be like in 2 weeks. It may be uncuttable then, so if I can get a decent cut on it, I will. However, for some reason the blades aren't engaging. The cables are brand new cables, so I don't know what the issue is there. I was using this mower yesterday, it was working fine. I haven't got the other one, which is the one which broke down, or the belt snapped. So I'm going to have to take the guard off now I'm going to have to take this off. Well, I might just take that off quickly, just see if I can physically see anything, because that's really quick to flick off. And if there's nothing obvious, then I'm going to have to take the guard off. Here, I'll do this now while I'm filming, because this is really easy. He says. Okay, so that cable's nice and tight. That one feels a bit loose. So who knows? I'll have to do a little bit more investigation. Okay, I think I've diagnosed it instantly, because if you remember, this is the bodge I did, so I didn't have to remove the engine, and it seemed to have worked fine. But that bit of metal there looks really clean to me. So I think this is now not tensioned enough. So I think if I pull this back 15 mil, that will tension this up enough to do the job. We will but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Okay, so that is 100% what it is. Unfortunately, the bodge has failed, which, you know, I got my money's worth out of it. So I can't think of I can't think of how I'm going to fix that now without wasting too much time and not being able to get the other jobs done. The other jobs I know will all be leaf clearances and mowing as well. The next job I'm going to, I could use the hater. I could use the hater here, to be honest, but I spent so long clearing the leaves, I haven't got time to run the hater over now, so the small one I can use the hater no problem there, and then the last one I could do just the leaf clearance, so that's fine. So yeah, I think we're just going to have to call time on this one. Okay, so it's, don't know what time it is actually. I think it's getting on for about 3 o'clock, 2:30, getting on for 3 o'clock, something along those lines. And we basically couldn't use the mower today, which is fine because I had plenty of leaf collections to get on with. However, here we are, and finally we're going to change the belt, which seems to be a blue belt now. I decided to come home and do it rather than do it in a container, just because I know that I've got all the tools here, and generally when I try and fix things up there's always some tool I need that I haven't got. So I got here, but when I got home, my youngest son was asleep, and bearing in mind that the garage is directly below his bedroom, I was advised by my wife not to be making any noise. So yeah, anyways, I've had to just hang on a little bit, a cup of tea, and we're sorted. So yeah, we're going to change this belt. It's a bit of a faff, to be honest with you, because you need to get into that bit there, but to do that you've got to take that belt off down there, because you need to get it up and over. There's no way of doing that without removing that belt. So, and as you can see, it's all sort of in there. So it is a bit of a faff. Okay, so I've got the blue belt on. Essentially, what I did was, you have this bracket here. I've removed that bracket. I removed this spring, and then by removing the spring and the bracket means you can just move this around. That means you can get enough slack to take this belt off. Okay, so what that's meant is I've been able to then thread that through, put that on. That's actually quite easy because it's not under load, because you've got the blade brake on. So that's actually quite an easy bit. Now all I need to do is, I've looked at this, I do have a spare one of these, but this is absolutely fine, so that can go back on too. So that just hooks round there like so, and then in fact probably can do this one-handedly. There you go. So that's how easy that's on. Then all we need to do is, wherever that spring went, attach this spring up into there and to here, and then attach this bracket onto there like that. Nice easy fix. Okay, so it seems to be all fixed up and running. I've just cut my front lawn just to test it. It works fine. The only concerning bit I've got now is this cable here, which is the blade brake cable. If you remember, this snapped at some point in the season, so to get a quick turnaround I ordered the part, but then I robbed this cable off of the older Time Master, and then put the new one on the old Time Master when that turned up. So this is getting really sticky, so I've just put as much WD-40 down as much as I could, some spray grease, anything I could find, which I think could help. It has loosened it a little bit, but I'm concerned that's now on its way out. So I will need another one. If you remember, the whole issue with the other one is that this nut here sheared off, so because you don't really take it off that much unless you're changing the cable. So in its life I changed the cable once on it, so I think that nut's been undone once. I mean, this mower's only, well, it's nearly 2 years old now, so I think the key is to whenever the guard is off, is actually to keep an eye on that, and maybe just loosen it and tighten it back up every now and again, just to make sure I don't get into that predicament. Thursday. It's Halloween, in fact. So we've done the first job. You've just seen that, literally just leaf clearing. The lawn is pretty long because it hasn't been cut for 3 weeks, I think now, but there's so many leaves down. I've just sort of prioritised that. Hopefully, I mean, these ones always sort of, for this garden, it's these beeches that hang on. But hopefully the front half of the garden, I might be able to cut that next week, because I think the majority of the main leaves are down on that. So at least if I can get that cut next week, that'll be something. When was it, Monday or Tuesday, I did a quote for a standalone leaf clearance job. I gave a couple of options to the client. One was to just basically blow it into the woods at the back of the house. One was to collect it all up and bag it for the client to do whatever they wanted to do with it, or a couple of options are removing it. One was for myself to remove it, and one was to actually get a skip in. They've opted for for myself to collect all the leaves and leave them all bagged for the client to get rid of. I wonder, once the client sees how many bags they'll have, they actually will ask me to remove it, so we'll just have to wait and see on that one. So we're now going to a usual Thursday house, and the plan would be to do some strimming around the paddock fences. I'm sure when I get there though, there might be it may change, who knows. Right, see you in a bit. Okay, do you remember last week I cut all this hedge back so they could dig the trench? Well, there's the trench, so seems to have worked okay. They seem to have got round. I think I forgot to film the knackered. Anyways, so here we are. I did the strimming around the fence lines, and here we are on the last one of the day. So yeah, it's looking pretty lush. Get all these leaves cleared down to the back. I suppose at the end of the season, what I'll probably do at the end of the season is either mulch them up or collect them or do something, but for the moment it's just a case of getting them down there. Here's a little courtyardy area. I treated the moss last week, so you can see it's all browning off nicely. It's a granular thing that I put down, which is okay. It just means you can't do the walls as such. I'm going to have to spray something on those. Don't think it's going to work otherwise. Okay, so this is the front. As you can see here, lots of new growth coming through. All I did was little isolated areas. There's a bit of moss coming in, which is competing for that sort of space at the moment, but I will spray that off soon enough. But for the minute, we're just going to concentrate on getting the leaves done. What I'll probably do, as you can see the cores are in here, is I'll probably just take the mower over, literally pulling a wheelie with the roller to just press this down. There's a big impact and makes a big difference. You can see that area there as well, that's coming quite nicely. The key is just keep the leaves off. Okay, all striped up. Leaves are all cleared over here. As I say, what I will do is eventually mulch them all up, collect them, do whatever, but for the moment we're just sort of clearing the lawn and getting it cut. The 4 last week's stripes are still in there just, but yeah, time to get packed up. Okay, and just before I go, the last thing I'm going to do is just treat this moss. I will have to treat the stuff on the wall, but for the moment I'm just going to treat the stuff which is on the pavement, just to stop it being slippy. First thing I need to do is just, and that section there, is just blow the leaves off. Then I'm going to put the product down, then I'm going to water it in. Okay, here we go. So there's the product down. Now, it doesn't really work on the sides, as I say, so I will have to spray that with a separate product. But I've actually run out of that product, so the stuff I'm using will work for this. It's Friday. I've just done the first lawn up the road there. Started off a bit of a disaster when I was just dropping the children off at various places, and then I got a message from one of my clients, and she posted me this picture, and I didn't even know. I didn't even realise I'd left it behind. So I had to take a detour, which basically meant I had to start half an hour later than planned. But I've made up good time already. It's nice and dry. We haven't had rain for a couple of days now, so things are good. So I haven't cut this lawn for a couple of weeks now because I've been doing leaves. Because I've been doing leaves. So I'm not doing anything out the front, so I'm just going to concentrate on the back now. And essentially that's leaf clearance, and then I'm going to give it a cut. And I want to give these backs, and it's the same up the road as well. I haven't cut the backs for a while because I've been doing the leaves, but I want to get a cut on it while it's nice and dry, because you know what it's like. We can't guarantee it's going to be dry again ever. So yeah, make the most of it while you can. So if you look over into the second third there, you can see loads of leaves around. That's exactly what this kind of looks like. So all I've done is I've just gone round on a high setting, and you can see I've sucked up all the leaves. So I'm going to fill the bin as best I can, or the 2 bins as best I can. The rest will go down the bottom of the garden. So I will do each section, get the worst of the leaves. Then what I'll do is I'll put in a straight up and down stripe on a lower height, and then if we don't get to cut for the next couple of weeks or month, whatever reason, then it's not the end of the world. Okay, so there we go, all the leaves cleared up for the minute, and yeah, cut and striped, job done. So now on to the next house next door, and I imagine it will be more of the same.